Imagine a medieval village buzzing with energy, bells jingle, drums thump, and dancers swirl in a riot of color. Morris dancers leap, their sticks clashing, their faces alight with mischief and pride. This isn't just a show, it's a portal to a time when dance was everything: community, survival, even rebellion. Where did Morris dance come from, and what was the medieval dance scene really like? Today, we're diving deep into the origins of Morris dance and the wild, vibrant world of medieval movement. From ancient rituals to royal courts, these dances shaped history, and they're still stealing the show. I've got 25 gripping insights to share, packed with secrets that'll make you want to grab a handkerchief and join the fray. Trust me, you'll be itching to comment by the end. Let's see which medieval dance you dare to try. First, let's unravel the mystery of Morris dance. Its name might sound like your uncle at the tavern, but its roots are deep and tangled. Some trace Morris to the Moorish, suggesting influences from North African or Spanish dancers who dazzled European courts in the Middle Ages. By the 15th century, English records mention Moorish dancers with bells and painted faces, possibly imitating exotic performers. But here's the twist: others swear Morris is older, tied to pagan rites where dancers honored seasons, fertility, or warrior spirits. Picture villagers stomping to rouse the earth from winter's chill. That's the raw energy we're talking about. Modern historians suggest these dances fused pagan and Christian traditions, binding communities through every leap. What do you think? Does Morris feel like a sacred ritual or a medieval rave? Drop your take in the comments. Now, let's zoom out to medieval dance as a whole. Dance wasn't just fun, it was the glue of society. In villages, peasants spun through country dances at harvests, weddings, or to banish winter's gloom. These circle and line dances were like medieval flash mobs, fueled by ale and camaraderie. In castles, nobles mastered court dances like the pavane or galliard, where one misstep could sink your status faster than a botched joust. Dance manuals, like those by 14th century Italian master Domenico da Piacenza, detail leaps, turns, and hand gestures that demanded ninja-level skill. It was medieval TikTok, but you trained for months to go viral. Morris dance stood apart for its raw power. Unlike courtly elegance, Morris was earthy, packed with symbols. Bells on dancers' shins jangled to scare evil spirits or echo battle cries. Clashing sticks mimic combat, maybe nodding to ancient warriors. Waved handkerchiefs could have been offerings to nature gods. Each region had its vibe: Cotswolds crisp athleticism, Borders fierce shamanic edge, Longsword's hypnotic weaves. By the 16th century, Morris troupes were festival stars, backed by guilds or churches. They weren't just performers, they were the village heartbeat, passing stories through every twirl. Which Morris style would you try? Tell me below. Medieval dance could get rebellious. The 14th century dance mania saw people dancing uncontrollably in streets, sometimes for days, linked to Black Death stress or famine. It was part coping mechanism, part divine plea. The church called it sinful, but couldn't stop it. Village carols, chain dances led by singers, kept spirits high despite hardship. These weren't polished, they were raw, improvised, and soulful. Imagine a peasant, bone-tired from the fields, joining a carol under moonlight, worries fading with each step. That's dance's magic. It healed as much as it entertained. Music was the fuel. Morris relied on the tabor, a small drum and pipe, a flute, a duo that could make a statue groove. Court dances had lutes, viols, and shawms, medieval oboes, weaving lush soundscapes. Music wasn't just a backdrop, it drove every step. The 13th century Cantigas de Santa Maria shows musicians playing with fire, their melodies practically leaping from the page. For Morris dancers, music was a battle cry, pulling everyone into the rhythm. Hear those bells and drums in a quiet village, could you resist? Share in the comments. Dance had a spooky side. Some saw Morris's blackened faces as channeling spirits or ancestors, freaking out the superstitious. Court dancers risked accusations of vanity or witchcraft. A 15th century chronicle tells of a noblewoman whose wild banquet dance sparked demonic rumors. Yet, this danger made dance electric, a tightrope between joy and peril. Would you dance knowing it might stir whispers of sorcery? Let me know below. Costumes were no afterthought. Morris dancers rocked bright ribbons, feathered hats, and bell-covered pads, each with meaning: white for purity, red for life, bells to banish evil. Court dancers flaunted silks, furs, and jewels. A 14th-century French manuscript describes a nobleman's gold-threaded outfit so heavy he could barely move, but he slayed. Costumes told stories, turning dancers into legends. Design your medieval dance outfit. What colors and symbols? Comment below. Dance was political. Kings used court dances to flex power, showing diplomats their nobles' flawless moves, like saying, "Check our discipline." Morris troops, sponsored by guilds or towns, boosted local pride, like medieval hype squads. At 15th-century royal feasts, Morris performances were diplomatic chess moves, flaunting England's culture. Dance wove alliances and rivalries into every step. Imagine a king eyeing a Morris troupe, plotting his next move. Dance was that big. Dance spaces shaped the vibe. Village greens hosted Morris and country dances, open and free, with grass and sky as the stage. Castle great halls, with rush floors and firelight, set the scene for noble dances. Churches joined in during feast days, though priests watched for rowdiness. A tight hall demanded precision, a green invited wild leaps. Picture dancing in a candlelit castle, royal or dizzy. Share below. Medieval dance evolved. By the late Middle Ages, the Renaissance brought fancier footwork and instruments like the hurdy-gurdy. Morris stayed stubbornly traditional, its bells ringing through time. Today, Morris thrives at festivals like Sidmouth Folk Week, bonding dancers like their medieval kin. It's a 600-year-old vibe, still alive. Watch a Morris video online, then comment what you felt, joy, or something else. Women were dance dynamos. Men led Morris, but women shone in country dances, spinning with fire. Court records note women leading carols, their voices setting the pace. Noble women like Margaret of Austria set dance trends across Europe, though too much flair risked scandal. If you were a medieval woman, what dance would you lead? Tell me below. Dance taught discipline. Dance masters drilled students like knights, demanding perfect posture. A 15th-century treatise by Guglielmo Ebrio urges grace in motion, like angels on earth. Morris dancers practiced stick clashing for stamina and sync, embodying unity. Dance was a classroom, teaching life lessons. What could dance teach you? Discuss below. Morris wasn't just dance, it was theatre. Some troupes added characters like the fool or hobby horse, weaving comedy into the steps. The fool, with a bladder on a stick, mocked authority, while the horse pranced as a fertility symbol. These antics made crowds roar, blending dance with storytelling. Which character would you play? Comment below. Dance was spiritual. Morris's rhythmic stomps echoed pagan earth-waking rites, while court dances sometimes mimicked celestial patterns, like stars in motion. Manuscripts describe dancers moving as if guided by heaven. Even carols had a sacred edge, lifting souls. Would you dance for fun or something deeper? Share below. Training was brutal. Morris dancers endured hours of drills to sync their bells and sticks. Court dancers practiced for weeks to nail a single pavan. A 14th-century text notes dancers collapsing from exhaustion but rising to perfect their craft. It was Greek meets grace. Could you handle medieval dance boot camp? Tell me below. Dance was a unifier. In villages, rich and poor joined carols. In courts, nobles and servants sometimes shared a reel. Morris troops drew farmers, craftsmen, and even clergy, all united by rhythm. It broke barriers in a rigid world. What modern activity feels that inclusive? Comment below. Morris had rivals. Other folk dances, like maypole or sword dances, competed for festival spotlight. Each had its flair, maypole's colorful ribbons, swords' deadly precision. Yet Morris's bells and bravado often stole the show. Which folk dance would you root for? Drop it below. Dance was survival. In harsh winters, village dances generated body heat, like medieval cardio. A packed hall could raise the temperature by 5 to 7 degrees, per 14th-century records. It wasn't just fun, it kept you alive. Imagine dancing to stay warm, would you? Share below. Morris was exportable. By the 16th century, English settlers brought it to the Americas, where it morphed into new forms. Today, global Morris teams keep the tradition alive, from Australia to Japan. It's a medieval gift that keeps giving. Seen a Morris dance abroad? Tell me below. Dance was memory. Without written records, Morris steps were passed orally, like living archives. Elders taught kids, preserving stories in every move. It was history you could feel. What tradition would you pass down? Comment below. Morris faced bans. Puritans in the 17th century called it pagan, nearly killing it. Yet, dancers defied the bans, hiding in barns to practice. Their rebellion saved the tradition. Imagine risking it all to dance, would you? Share below. Dance was joy. Despite plague, war, and frost, medieval folks danced. Morris's soaring leaps and jangling bells were a middle finger to despair. Today, festivals prove its pull, thousands flock to watch. Watch a Morris video, then comment what it sparked in you. There you go, 25 reasons Morris dance and medieval dance are more than steps. They're stories, rebellions, lifelines, woven into every stomp. My channel's all about medieval magic, so like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Drop a comment, your favorite dance, your dream outfit, or what Morris makes you feel. Let's keep the medieval fire burning. See you next video, where we'll unearth another epic slice of history. Dance on. The origins of Morris dance are shrouded in mystery, with theories tracing its roots to Moorish influences or ancient pagan rituals. By the 15th century, Morris dances were a staple in English records, known for their bells, painted faces, and lively performances. These dances were more than entertainment, they were a blend of pagan and Christian traditions, binding communities together through movement and rhythm. The raw energy of Morris dance set it apart from the elegant court dances, which required precision and skill. Morris dancers used symbols like bells, sticks, and handkerchiefs to ward off evil spirits or honor nature gods, with each region developing its unique style. Medieval dance was not just a form of entertainment but a social glue that held communities together. In villages, peasants would gather for country dances during harvests, weddings, or to chase away the winter blues. These dances were spontaneous and full of camaraderie, often fueled by ale. In contrast, nobles in castles performed intricate court dances like the pavan or galliard, where a single misstep could ruin one's reputation. Dance manuals from the 14th century, such as those by Domenico da Piacenza, detailed complex movements that required months of practice to master. The rebellious spirit of medieval dance is evident in phenomena like the 14th century dance mania, where people danced uncontrollably in the streets for days, driven by stress from the Black Death or famine. The church condemned such behavior as sinful, but it couldn't stop the spontaneous outbursts of dance. Village carols, led by singers, were another form of rebellious dance, offering a moment of joy and respite from the hardships of daily life. Music played a crucial role in medieval dance, driving every step and setting the mood. Morris dancers relied on the tabor and pipe, while court dances featured lutes, viols, and shawms. The music was not just a backdrop but an integral part of the performance, pulling everyone into the rhythm. The 13th century Cantigas de Santa Maria illustrates the power of music, with depictions of musicians playing with such intensity that their melodies seem to leap off the page. The costumes worn by medieval dancers were not merely decorative but held deep symbolic meaning. Morris dancers adorned themselves with bright ribbons, feathered hats, and bell-covered pads, each element carrying a specific significance. Court dancers, on the other hand, wore lavish outfits made of silks, furs, and jewels, designed to impress and tell stories through their attire. A 14th-century French manuscript describes a nobleman's outfit so heavy with gold thread that he could barely move, yet he danced with grace and elegance. Dance also served as a political tool, with kings using court dances to display their power and discipline to visiting diplomats. Morris troops, sponsored by guilds or towns, boosted local pride and were often featured in royal feasts as a show of cultural prowess. Dance spaces, whether village greens or castle halls, influenced the style and energy of the performances. Village greens allowed for wild, open movements, while castle halls demanded precision and control. The evolution of medieval dance saw the introduction of new instruments and more complex footwork with the onset of the Renaissance. However, Morris dance remained steadfast in its traditions, with its distinctive bells and rhythms continuing to resonate through the centuries. Today, Morris dance is celebrated at festivals worldwide, keeping the spirit of medieval dance alive. Women played a significant role in medieval dance, leading country dances and carols with their voices setting the pace. Noble women like Margaret of Austria influenced dance trends across Europe, although too much flair could lead to scandal. Dance masters demanded discipline and perfection from their students, likening their movements to those of angels. Morris dance, with its theatrical elements and characters like the fool and hobby horse, blended comedy and storytelling into the performance. The spiritual aspect of dance was evident in Morris's rhythmic stomps, which echoed pagan earth-waking rites, and court dances that mimicked celestial patterns. Training for these dances was intense, with dancers enduring grueling practice sessions to perfect their craft. Dance served as a unifier, breaking down social barriers and bringing people together through shared rhythm and movement. Morris dance faced challenges, including bans by Puritans in the 17th century who deemed it pagan. However, dancers defied these bans, practicing in secret to keep the tradition alive. Despite the hardships of medieval life, dance remained a source of joy and resilience, with Morris's soaring leaps and jangling bells serving as a defiant response to despair. In conclusion, Morris dance and medieval dance are more than just steps, they are stories of community, rebellion, and survival. From the raw energy of Morris dance to the elegant precision of court dances, these movements have shaped history and continue to captivate audiences today. Whether you're drawn to the spiritual, political, or purely joyful aspects of medieval dance, there's a style and story waiting for you to explore. So, grab a handkerchief, lace up your boots, and join the fray. The medieval dance floor is calling.